raindrops tapped against the window pane, like whispered secrets from the heavens. In the dimly lit room, Sophia sat alone, the weight of her grandmother's absence heavy upon her shoulders. The old Victorian house, once filled with warmth and laughter, now echoed with the haunting silence of loss. Back to the past. Sophia lay nestled beneath the cozy layers of her sheets, cocooned in the comforting embrace of her grandmother's home. Outside, the valleys embraced the chill weather of valley. The morning, a testament to the enduring cold of their remote abode. It was a morning like any other, yet one that would mark a significant turn in Sophia's life. She was a tender 18 years old, her innocence untouched by the secrets that lay in wait. As the pale light of dawn began to seep through the curtains, Sophia's grandmother, a bastion of love and wisdom, entered her room with a gentle grace that only years of life experience could bestow. She approached her granddaughter, who stirred and greeted her with the same warmth she had known since childhood. "Granny," Sophia murmured, her voice tinged with sleep, "you look exceptionally pretty today." The old woman chuckled softly, her eyes twinkling with affection. "Oh, my dear Sophia, you always know how to make an old woman feel special, but compliments won't keep you from your school, and you have much to learn." Sophia's playful pout was met with a gentle insistence. "Can't I just sleep in today?" Her grandmother's reply was unwavering, wrapped in the wisdom of generations. "No, my dear, you can't. Life waits for no one, and neither does your education." With a resigned sigh, Sophia finally stirred herself from her warm sanctuary and headed toward her bathroom, leaving her grandmother with a heavy sigh of her own. She watched her granddaughter's retreating figure, her heart weighed down by a truth she could no longer keep hidden. In the hushed solitude of the room, her thoughts whispered like a chilling breeze through her mind. "I don't know how much time I have left," she admitted to herself. "I must find the courage to reveal the truth to her before it's too late." Emerging from the warm bath, Sophia wrapped herself in a plush towel, her skin carrying the soft radiance of youth. The bathroom steam had caressed her complexion, leaving it aglow like a porcelain doll's. Droplets of water glistened in her golden brown hair, which still clung to hints of moisture, lending an ethereal quality to her appearance. With a graceful step, she moved to where her school uniform awaited, a symbol of the life that lay ahead. As she changed, her fingers dancing through the familiar motions, her smooth, fair skin seemed to shimmer with a natural luminosity. Sophia was a vision of youth and beauty, a reflection of the grandmother who had raised her. Yet, it was her eyes that held the true essence of her being. With her school bag in tow, Sophia joined her grandmother at the quaint dining table, taking her place across from the matriarch of her world. The chill in the air outside was met with warmth inside, where the aroma of her favorite breakfast, chicken pepper stew, enveloped her senses. It was a humble dish, a testament to their simple life, but to Sophia, it tasted like a slice of heaven. She felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the blessings she held close. They may not have been wealthy by society's standards, but they were rich in love and cherished moments. Sophia knew the true worth of what she had, a loving grandmother who had been both a mother and a confidant. Having emptied her plate, Sophia leaned over and placed a soft, affectionate kiss on her grandmother's wrinkled cheek. It was a ritual that had spanned her childhood, a gesture of love and gratitude. Just then, the sound of her childhood best friend and classmate, Ella, reverberated outside the house. Her voice carried the urgency of youthful excitement as she yelled for Sophia to hurry. The simplicity and joy of this moment, shared with those she loved, painted the canvas of her life with vibrant, cherished colors. Sophia. With her school bag slung over her shoulder, Sophia flashed a bright smile at her grandmother. "I'll be going then. Bye. See you in the evening. Bye." She headed towards the door and stepped out into the crisp morning air. Grandmother. As Sophia left, her grandmother watched her with a mixture of pride and concern. She knew that this might be the last time she saw her granddaughter, before the truth would inevitably reveal itself. Her voice quivered with emotion as she whispered, "Maybe I'm seeing you for the last time. I hope you will be strong when the truth reveals. I'll always love you, dear." She let out a heavy breath, her heart heavy with the weight of the secret she bore. Outside, Sophia. As Sophia strolled down the path, she suddenly felt like something was amiss. She turned to Ella with a playful frown. "Am I deaf, Ella?" Ella chuckled, her eyes dancing with mischief. "Who knows? Maybe you are." Sophia rolled her eyes and began to walk, her steps purposeful and determined. Ella. "Okay, wait for me, Queen of our Valley," Ella called after her with a grin. They shared a laugh, and together they walked down the winding road. As Sophia and Ella entered the school, their laughter and chatter filled the corridor, a symphony of youthful exuberance and camaraderie. They were blissfully unaware of the intense gaze that followed their every move, a pair of brown eyes hidden in the shadows. Those eyes bore into Sophia with an almost hypnotic intensity, as if trying to decipher the secrets of her very soul. They watched the way she laughed, the way she talked with her friend, the way her hair caught the sunlight in a cascade of gold. For him, it all began on that fateful day, a chance encounter that ignited a dark and consuming desire. She had become his muse, his obsession, a haunting melody that played in the depths of his mind. He yearned for her like no one else, his heart a prisoner to her enchantment. He would do anything, everything, to make her his own, to possess the ethereal beauty that had captured his heart. But what about her? In her eyes, he was the villain of her story, a shadowy figure lurking in the corners of her world. To him, he was the embodiment of darkness, a force driven by a love that teetered on the edge of obsession. And as the threads of their destinies entwined, a question hung in the air like a heavy fog. Would she ever see him as anything other than the villain of her story? He watched her from the shadows, a figure unknown to all, shrouded in the enigma of his own existence, a mystery himself. He had no name, no face in the world that Sophia knew. The driver, cautious yet compelled by his duty, broke the silence with a timid inquiry. "Shall we go, sir?" The man turned his intense gaze upon the driver, eyes holding secrets too deep to be spoken aloud. He uttered no words, but his silent nod conveyed everything that needed to be said. The driver, relieved yet unsettled by the encounter, let out a concealed heavy breath he had held in check. He started the car, their departure imminent. But even as they left, the man cast one final longing glance in her direction. His thoughts, hidden and possessive, whispered like a dark promise in his mind. "Mine, just mine. Forever, Sophia. You will be mine. No one can change it, not even you." And with that vow echoing in the recesses of his soul, they drove away, leaving behind the unknowing subject of his intense and shadowed obsession. On her way back to home, she was walking alone as Ella was picked up by her mother. While she was lost in her deep thoughts, a sudden interruption shattered the tranquility. A group of men stood in front of her, their presence ominous and unsettling. Sophia's instincts urged her to pass by them unnoticed, but one of them seized her hand, his grip like a vice. "Ah, Sophia." Her voice remained firm, laced with an underlying defiance. "What do you think you're doing? Let go of my hand." "Man." The man's response was a twisted chuckle as he tightened his grip. "And what if I don't? Will you scream?" "Sophia." Sophia's gaze bore into his, unwavering. "Have you forgotten the lesson I gave you? Do you want to return to jail? You know the police patrol this area, and they'll be here in a matter of minutes. Perhaps we can have a little chat with them, right?" Hearing her words, the man released her hand, anger flashing in his eyes. "Man," he muttered a final threat before stalking away. "I'll see you soon." Sophia exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding and continued on her way. Sophia remained blissfully unaware that the encounter on her journey home had not gone unnoticed. Hidden in the shadows, an unknown figure had witnessed the entire exchange. Fingers trembling with urgency, the observer quickly dialed a number. Unknown. In a hushed voice, the observer reported, "Master, something has happened." On the other end of the line, the person receiving the call curled up their brows, eyes ablaze with intensity as they absorbed the conversation. The witness relayed the details of the day's events, every word spoken, every threat made, leaving nothing to the imagination. With a sudden furious motion, The person on the phone slammed their hand onto the table, their voice cold and commanding. "Bring them to me." As the conversation came to an end, the witness couldn't help but gulp audibly. They knew all too well what their master was capable of, a force to be reckoned with, a demon in their own right. The ominous weight of their master's intentions hung in the air, casting a dark, foreboding shadow over the path that lay ahead. Finally, she reached the doorstep of her home, where the familiar wooden door stood in silent anticipation. She knocked, hoping for the comforting smile of her grandmother to greet her, a beacon of love and safety in the midst of life's uncertainties. Sophia took slow, deliberate breaths, each inhalating an attempt to calm the trembling nerves that still reverberated within her. Terrified as she had been, she knew she had to stand up for herself, not burden her beloved grandmother with worries she didn't need. With determination bolstering her resolve, Sophia managed to regain her composure. She couldn't bear to see her grandmother age any faster in her golden years, and for that reason she chose not to share the unsettling encounter she'd just experienced. After collecting herself, Sophia approached her home, her heart heavy with questions. She knocked on the door, but there was no reply. This was unusual. Her grandmother was usually home at this time. She knocked again, growing more concerned by the second. To her surprise, the door yielded to her touch. It wasn't locked. Doubts crept into her mind, a growing unease unfurling within her. What happened inside? Sophia summoned her courage and stepped in cautiously. The house was dim, shrouded in darkness, and she could barely make out the familiar contours of the room. She reached for the switchboard, fingers trembling once more, but before she could illuminate the room, a sudden magical transformation occurred. All the lights burst to life in unison, flooding the room with a warm, comforting glow. So, in that moment, Sophia felt a curious mixture of relief and wonder, as if the very house itself had sensed her presence and responded to her need for illumination. But this was just the beginning of the mysteries that awaited her within those familiar walls. Dear readers, if you are reading this, then please do comment on this. It helps me to improve.